Three-dimensional films essentially can be described as a technology used on two-dimensional films to create depth perception, giving the illusion of a three-dimensional image. This technology is seen a lot in our culture. These days, one can go view one of numerous 3D motion pictures in cinema, or simply wait for it to come out on 3D Blu-ray to watch on their super flat 3D LED TV, or use their 3D LED TV to play 3D video game through their console while taking 3D photos of this whole 3D affair through their 3D smartphone. Now, as advanced as this all seems, 3D technology implements a fairly simple technique: stereoscopy. Stereoscopy, or stereoscopic imaging, is a method using one's line of sight to create an illusion of depth. The way in which this technique works is by presenting two pieces of an image, example, a background and a foreground, or two copies of the whole image, and presenting them slightly offset from each other. A device is then used to combine these two images in the brain, giving the illusion of three dimensions. A simple experiment for this technique can be performed by holding a finger up in front of you. If you were to look at this finger through each eye on its own, you'd experience two different views. When both eyes are open, the brain uses the two views to create one. There are two ways in which stereoscopy is used in film: anaglyph and polarized systems. Anaglyph systems use color. They present two images of a film in chromatically opposite colors, usually a red and a blue. A pair of glasses like the trendy red and blue ones that used to come with your cereal are then used to view a 3D image. Polarized systems use light. They emit two versions of the image, one polarized horizontally and one vertically. One lens of the glass receives the horizontal image, and the other lens collects the vertical image, creating a 3D image. This system is most commonly seen today. Now, the application of 3D technology in film started around the 1920s, with the first 3D film being The Power of Love by Harry K. Farrell, which opened on the 27th of September 1922. It used a red-green anaglyph format. Besides a small golden era after the 1950s and a minor growth in popularity with the IMAX Corporation from the mid-80s to mid-noughties, 3D film had a relatively quiet presence among cinema. It wasn't until after 2003, with the success of 3D animated films like The Polar Express, that a real mainstream existence was seen. 3D films were raking in piles of cash throughout the late noughties, with big hits like How to Train Your Dragon and Avatar. But this soaring 3D film dawned an illustrious decline. 2011 saw a record total of 47 3D films with heavy emphasis on their 3D features, but according to the Motion Picture Association of America, besides this record number of 3D films, overall domestic box office receipts were down 18%. 2012 brought more deterioration in popularity, with over half of viewers selecting 2D over 3D, as seen in the audiences of films like The Avengers and Pixar's Brave. This decline in popularity brings up a question: is 3D film simply a technique to siphon money? According to The Hollywood Reporter, director Luis Leterrier mentioned regarding his 3D film Clash of the Titans that it was absolutely horrible, the 3D. Nothing was working. It was just a gimmick to steal money from the audience. Accounts like these create an idea that 3D film is a gimmick. This idea is further supported by the film industry's attempt to recycle old films like The Lion King and Titanic by turning them into 3D films. Practices like these present a perception that 3D is not a film technique used to enhance features of the film, such as the plot or setting, but instead used to milk out money and profit. This abuse of 3D goes even further as to harm the quality of a film. Emily Cannings says in her article, The Death of Hollywood in Glorious 3D, from the Telegraph, that the gimmick of 3D is destroying the film industry. The obsession with the visual deters filmmakers from the complex plots and intriguing characters that make a film great. But this does not necessarily mean the end of 3D film. Things like this are not accepted overnight. If you were to look at high definition, it was not suddenly accepted, and now there's a HD alternative for almost every channel broadcasted in Australia. 3D film technology has a lot of potential to become a genuine artistic and practical quality of the film industry. It also has the potential to reach in every home and enhance an audience's experience, from film through to sporting events. It just requires some careful evolution, not the misuse it's receiving.